Okay, let's talk about how to set levels on a reverb. Just about every beginner on Earth seems to be in love with this crap and just using ridiculous amounts of reverb. And then you got the other guys who are aware of this particular problem. That's how I was when I was young. Was I knew that too much reverb was a good sign of being an amateur joke, and so I just didn't use any. And that also has certain limitations, unless you're like the Chili Peppers or Tom Petty or something like that. So in this case, let's talk about how to avoid this amateur sound by using just absurd amounts of reverb. This is probably another rant, but I want to go ahead and cover it right now. Reverb does not cover stuff up. I don't know who invented that idea that, like, oh, you can't sing? Well, just toss some reverb on it. I don't know if I've never heard a track in my life with a lot of reverb, and I said, wow, that's a lot of reverb, and so I can't tell the singer sucks. I always know. I mean, you have two problems then. When you put too much reverb on it, you have too much reverb, and you have a bad vocal. So don't maximize your... All right, I'm going to quit ranting about that. I'll bitch about that later. Okay, first trick to setting up a reverb is to just use way too damn much. And why is that? When we have ridiculous amounts of reverb, we can hear this stuff, and it's obvious. It's overt. We know, we need to deal with this low end, or we need to deal with whatever. And we can treat that stuff. And then when we tuck it back in the mix, we don't have to worry about that stuff just secretly chewing up space and mud. We have no problems with that because we've already put a magnifying glass on it and got it right. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to this vocal, which I've just soaked. Again, lots of reverb. Wow, okay, we're done. Thanks, guys. Okay, obviously that was awful. The first thing that strikes me is the reverb time is on epic levels. I have it all the way up, which looks like about 6 seconds. 6 seconds of a reverb time is like, I don't know, probably what the Vatican or some of those cathedrals can do. You'll never, ever, ever use it for pop music unless you're just doing something really crazy. Very rarely will you ever do that. So let's go and knock it down about 2.5 seconds. When it comes to setting up reverbs for vocals, for a pop song, you rarely will go over 3 seconds. 2.5 is common for like this concert hall type of vocal sound I'm going for here. Getting more to like 1 or 2 seconds is more like 1 second is what you're going to hear on like a lot of big rooms for drums and things of that sort. Anything under 1, you're starting to talk about bathrooms and real small, intimate kind of spaces and candlelight type of deals. Okay, so anyway, we're going to go to 2.5 seconds. Let's listen to that. Okay, first red flag is me. No, not Brandon, but me, the lyric. It's got way too much low end. I'll listen to it again. And it's one of those things where I know I've got to be... that real estate is worth a lot, so I'm not going to waste it. So take a listen. It doesn't necessarily sound bad, but I know that if I've got bass or any other instrument going on in a dense mix, we're going to be screwed. Now, this particular song isn't really a dense mix, but I'm going with it anyway. I'm going to go and knock some of that low end out. Now, we've got this shelving gadget here. I'm just going to turn it all the way up to 360, and we'll see how that goes. We can always, again, this is an input high-pass filter. I think maybe low shelf, whatever. And we can always just use the Cubase EQ or any other insert before this on our auxiliary send. So we can before or after. So we have a million options if we want to exercise them. I could even put like a multi-band compressor before this just to make sure none of that low-mid junk gets through there if I'm so inclined. Right now, though, we'll just use the input gadget. Let's see. Okay, once again, free, which I think free might still have a little bit of issues on the vocal itself when it kind of hits that 400 hertz type of peak there. But for our purposes here, I'm going to go ahead and blame the reverb because it kind of sounded sort of okay before. So let me just toss on, I don't know, one of my favorite surgery type EQs. And we're going to do there, and you've seen me do this before, I'm sure. Let's find our note here. Man, I'm good. That's how fast the sweep technique is when you've been doing this for a while, boys. I just swept through there and immediately found what I hated. And ended up being 397 hertz. Ha! I said 400. Man! Okay. You gotta find little victories in this game because you're gonna get your butt kicked a lot. Alright, so I'm just gonna notch that out. I got the Q up as high as I can. And this is an EQ going before the equalizer. And now let's see if our little free is still messed up. And with surgery, we can always get more aggressive. I mean, I did -4 there just to start. I mean, it wouldn't bother me to just try -10. Is that a lot? Yeah. But with a high Q like this, we can usually get away with it. We'll see. Okay, that's not 100% perfect, but it's close. Again, I may have to go back to the lead vocal. It's always a balance between the dry vocal and what you add to it. Because when the two sum, sometimes you have problems. So when the two add together, that might be a better phrase. Okay, let's pretend we like that. I'm not hearing any top-end problems. Part of that's because I think I've de-essed this vocal pretty good. The other part is this particular reverb is dark. It's an old school. I think it was actually designed or modeled after the old water hose reverb, which if you don't know what that is, look it up on Google or read the story on the UAD site. It's pretty fun. Okay, listening. Okay, I have no real problem with this vocal, except for the ridiculous level. Now, my brain is starting to get used to this stupidness, but I knew that going in. So don't be tempted to look at, Medusa's head or whatever's going on here. Go and yank that thing all the way down. This is one of the reasons I work in extremes like this, is because I know this is all going to change. I can't trust anything I've really done, because my brain will get used to anything stupid in half a second. So let's listen now with the dry vocal. Whoa, what a big change, huh? That's good. We're resetting our noggin. All right, keep going. Two things to note. One is when we kill all that reverb, whoa, what a shock. We had way too much reverb on. And two, without that reverb, man, what a boring sound. Not necessarily the vocal sound as it is, but it lets us know for sure we cannot get away with being 100% dry. And I guarantee you when I first mixed this thing a while back, this particular song, I probably said, you know what, I wonder if I could get away with this being dry. And you listen to it dry for, for 30 minutes and you start to believe in it. You start believing the lie. Well, by going all extreme and seeing the other side of the fence and saying, maybe I could get away with this just completely drenched in reverb. By flip-flopping and polarizing yourself like that, you seem to be able to question your values quite nicely, and you can find something in the middle that you like, which is ultimately what I think I'm going for, although, sometimes extreme stuff is cool. In this case, I don't think we need ridiculous reverb, I don't think we need none. So let's just put it up to, let's just start playing. I'll put it on -10. Who knows what that does? I already know it's too much. This is the other thing, is trusting your initial gut. The second I heard that, I knew too much. Why? I don't know. I don't care why. I'm not going to think about it. Of course, I said I was going to do -10. I did -5. So let's knock it down 5 more decibels. And at this point, where there is no skill in this particular fader setting. This is only creative, nothing else. So don't think there's a rule for any of this junk, because there ain't. You won't find one. You just got to use your gut, and you got to be creative. And this is why, when you're going to be creative, you rely on the emotion of the song to tell you what to do. This song has very, very picky guidelines that expects you to follow to maximize that emotion. So if you aren't excited, it's probably your setting. And in this particular case, the reverb is our focus. So let's excite ourselves. Here we go. Not bad. Now, here's the thing. I'm on headphones, so they're probably lying to me. Things like a reverb, I definitely prefer to use the monitors on. It actually should sound pretty good in both. but it's really easy for headphones, the nature of their imaging, to goof all this stuff up. I like it right now, and I'm going to make that little note, we're right at -10, but I'm very skeptical of it. Why would I trust that? What a lie. I mean, because I threw it on there, okay, my gut didn't hate it, and if we had to do a 5-minute mix on this thing, I'd go and render it right now and take off running and get a CD we could burn or whatever. But at this point, I had the time, and so I'm going to question it. The first thing I'm going to do, let's go down to -12 and see if we lose anything. And at this point in time, I like having numbers. This is something good about the digital world, where we can get really picky and even just type in -12. But let's just see. All right, listening.
I saw your heart while you stole mine from me. I'm trapped in this misery while you're feeling free.
Okay, we've shifted this vocal a little bit by going to -12. This is something you could hear on pop radio, like a Alicia Keys type of thing. And on this particular song, I don't know if I want to sound like a modern pop chick. I don't know if we're going for Nicki Minaj or something like that here. I guess that'd be a lot different. But anyway, my point is I don't. We could get away with using a giant plate like we're doing, like you just heard here, which you would say this is never on pop radio in 2012 or whatever year this is. Even in the 80s, that didn't happen that much reverb. So at least not that type. So by having this gigantic reverb, we can use this for just adding a little bit of space and dimension to a very in-your-face kind of vocal. That's a huge lesson about all this plate business and all these epic reverbs, is once you get them right by having them too loud, you can use them however you want. Now, for this case, I want the reverb more obvious. I'm going for that kind of live concert sound. So -12 was not enough for that. Let's go up to -8. And again, I'm working in 2 decibel increments. You notice I liked -10. At this point, I'm 2 decibels, on one side of the fence, that's not a whole lot, but on the other side of the fence, it's a ton. So we're just kind of going to bounce left, bounce right, and then bounce not far left, not far right, until we kind of go right into the center. All right, here we go.
I saw your heart while you stole mine from me. I'm trapped in this misery while you're feeling free.
In these headphones, that's pretty good too. We definitely don't sound corny yet. So let's go up to -6. It was -5 I thought was a little bit silly. So let's see what we got here.
I saw your heart while you
Too much. Definitely too much. So we're going to go back down to -8. I should go back to -10. Again, I'm just bouncing. I'm just trying to find this middle ground here.
I saw your heart while you stole mine from me. I'm trapped in this misery.
And again, to question my views, I'm always skeptical. Again, just never trust anything until you test it yourself. And so I'm muting the reverb.
I saw your heart.
Yuck! We're in a vocal booth. We're in a vacuum. All right, back to -10.
I saw your heart while you stole mine from me.
Okay, and that's it. That excites me. Again, in these headphones. Who knows what my monitors are going to tell me. So the point here, crank up your reverbs way too loud. Get that decay time about what you want, and then start thinking about filtering. And whether you have to EQ with the reverb itself or EQ before and after the reverb, whatever. This is one reason I like some of these impulses on the Lexicon gear. You can't tweak reverb time so much, a little bit actually, but what you can do is EQ before and after quite heavily and get stuff that's often very, very usable. And then you get all the benefits of the fancy hardware type reverbs in terms of sounds. So once you have it cranked up and you like the sound of it cranked up in terms of what the character of the reverb's doing, then start yanking it back and yank it off. And then yank it way up or push it way up. And then start bouncing around and experiment. And don't believe anything your ears start to tell you, because your ears are just freaking lying. And again, now that I went on that little rant, my ears are clear again. I want to hear this reverb and see if there's anything wrong with it. And now we're going to listen to the whole chorus just to see, because if there's one red flag, we have to deal with it. So here we go.
I saw your heart while you stole mine from me. I'm trapped in this misery while you're feeling free. I once knew a man, but I lost him to be with a man I do not know. You've forgotten me.
Okay, that reverb is good. I'm really happy with that. And now I just need to get this vocal just a little bit more exciting sounding on the top end. And that'll be another video. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.